They don't think you could do it, but tell you to try when they talk. All I hope had to keep it alive. Spend a day in the Bronx, but you wouldn't survive. Can be low when I pop out, they know I've arrived. I go have conversations with Zoe, he gon' tell me pull up and come say what you know. I've been up, I can count all them days in a row. We don't say what we do, we be making the show. They say I'll be
the voice of the Bronx. We have Bronx Slam with the guys that are out here. Can I get a yeah? Can I get it?
Leave them all right where they at. Try to diss me, I bet I don't even react. Put a show on, I bet you somebody gon' I pick me a book up and drink me some water, invest in the stock.
All right, peace and love, bro. Welcome to another episode of Conversation with Zoe. I say this a lot, but, you know, we have a lot of special guests and a lot of special moments here. But this one here is super powerful. You know, the guy that I respect for not only the way he carries himself, but his dignity, respect, integrity, all the things that's kind of being pushed out. But when you come from a certain generation, you know, we still stand for those things. But we got my guy, God's Monster here at Mr. Mecca. Viper Records, hashtag My Expert Opinion, The Conglomerate, Mechanism Mondays, shout out to Mechanism Mondays, and Mechanism Consulting. Mec, what up, bro? How you feeling?
Salute, Zoe. Salute. Thank you for having me, first and foremost, before anything else happens. Thank you for having me. It's a good platform. It's, you're doing your thing, man. You've been grinding for a minute. I've seen your numbers pick up. We talked about it earlier, but I appreciate you deciding that I'm somebody you want to talk to.
Thank you.
That counts.
No, absolutely. You know, you're one of my favorite guys from that show. We've met a few times in person. Always solid. You know what I'm saying? And even when I seen you at the LBL party, you're like, yo, listen, like, I'm not giving you, listen, give me your number, man. And I was like, you know what? That meant a lot, you know what I'm saying? Because that showed you that, you know, you really wanted to keep in touch and get in contact with each other. You know, things get lost in the DMs. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So you're like, listen, man, here's my phone, put your number in there. You hit me. So I'm glad we're here, man. You know, sometimes it's a timing thing. You know, you can't really, just same how you can't force a conversation off camera, you definitely can't force a conversation on camera. So
that's a fact.
It's good timing, man. But listen, how have you been?
Pretty fair for a square, you know. Blessed as fuck, everything on the incline. I could complain, but I'd be complaining.
Right.
You know, everything is moving along in a real significant way, except for fucking allergies. Oh my God. If you don't live in New York, don't show up right now. It's not a good look. It is not sexy out here. Christ on a cracker. Other than that, I feel fine. You can't tell by all this, but I feel good, man. Yeah. Dragon Season, Busta Rhymes album, doing really, really well. Shout out to The Conglomerate. You know, executive produced by Busta Rhymes, featuring Busta Rhymes. I got to co-executive produce that project, which was, you know, amazing, crazy experience.
Right.
I'm the head of A&R over there, and it's the first time I've ever been involved at this level. And it was you know, watching a guy like that work and being able to collab with him and, you know, get your ideas off and talk to him about features and, you know, beats. It was incredible, bro.
How would you overall describe the experience in the sense of, did you ever feel like you'd be here, or is it like a long time? Like, it's like all the work that you put in, it's like, I deserve to be here now.
I think I earned it.
Yeah.
I think I earned it, but it doesn't. Earning it doesn't make you any less grateful for having it.
Absolutely.
You dig what I mean? Like, it's one thing to be humble. It's another thing to deny the work that you put in.
Right.
Which is what being too humble is. You start acting like you don't deserve to be here. I work hard. Long nights, weekends. I'm very uncomfortable, you know, because my father says success don't come to the comfortable.
Right.
You don't get the comfort zone your way into a successful career. And that's me.
Right.
You know, so I earned the spot. I put in a lot of work, a lot of hours. Bro, I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful for everything that comes with it, the critique, the hate, the love, the respect, the yo, that album's crazy. You know what I mean? This hoodie is, shout out to Grateful Apparel. This is like how I'm feeling these days.
Right. I mean, to second that, I feel the same way because if you look at my first episode of Conversation with Zoe, bless you.
Thank you.
It was 2 minutes long. And then the episode after that was about Khalif Browder. That was like 5 minutes long.
Mm-hmm.
And then I did an episode called God First, and that was like, bless you, that was like 5 minutes long. So all my episodes were under 7 minutes. And I didn't know it was a podcast. I was just trying to put out positive content on my YouTube channel. And originally, my YouTube channel was where I put on my baseball highlights. So that's how I got signed to play overseas. So with that being said, I'd be lying to you and myself if I'm like, yo, yeah, I'm with Mecca right now. I knew this would happen. Lies. Like, I didn't know none of this was going to happen. And that's why I'm always so grateful, because everything has kind of just happened in stride and just pivoting, making the right moves, but also going to the events, not to smoke and drink, but to really connect with people. Like, get there early. Like, go see people, politic with them before the music starts, and just utilize and maximize your time and your experience while you're in that room. You know, so I wasn't in that room to because I'm somebody. I'm in the room because I'm trying to get them going. You feel me? I'm trying to keep bringing quality interviews and keep the morals going and empower the youth. That's why I started this. So the fact that I'm still here, still doing it, and still empowering the youth, it's just a testament to everything that's going on.
Well, see, I'm gonna push back on one thing. You said, I'm in this room. I ain't no, not because I'm somebody. Stop. You are somebody. You just told me who you were. Right. You're somebody who's trying to empower the youth. You're somebody who's trying to push positive content. Somebody who's got something to say. That's who you are. Right. That's who you've always been. You add on, you grow, but the basic plumbing of who you are doesn't change. And you were that guy when you got in the room. Right. You were that guy when you were outside of the door. You'll be that guy when you leave the room. Right. That's what I'm trying to do. That's my stance on it. I was who I was before anybody knew who I was. Right. Which makes it easier to be myself. All I have to do is be who I've always been.
Sidewalk Zoe. Telling you.
I walked here.
Right.
From where I was. I didn't hop in a car. I wanted to be outside. I'm doing now. Walking is a little different these days. Right. But I am who I am, bro. I didn't switch up because the camera was on. Right. I didn't act new because I started working with Busta. I got to work with Busta because I was who I was. I said what I always would have said. That's how the A&R relationship started. Like, when I would talk to him, I don't know about that beat. He'd be crazy about it. I'm not that sure. You know, and he might be excited about it because it's new, but, you know, maybe for the song you're trying to do, I don't know if this beat is, you know, or something like that. Not saying that specific, but, you know, anything like that. But you got to be who you are. Yes. You can't walk around in a mask. And I believe being who you are, everything else shakes out. Where you're supposed to be, you'll end up as long as you stay who you are. Now, you're supposed to grow. Don't get me wrong. You're not supposed to stay the same. You're supposed to grow. But what's supposed to grow is you, not the new shit. You're not supposed to become somebody else and call that growth. You, as a person, should have a natural growth, a natural evolution. And the dude I was, you know, a year ago, 2 years ago, the basic plumbing hasn't changed. I just learned some new stuff, and I apply some new stuff. My morals and my principles, those are not supposed to change with the times. They're supposed to maintain in spite of the times. Huge difference. I don't compromise my morals and my principles and what I believe is right. And I can learn. Maybe I get some new information and look at something a little different. But even that's me being me. You know what I mean? The growth is that I learned how to implement the new information I got into who I am and what I do. I think everybody can, you know what I mean? With that in mind, a level of success is inevitable. So when you ask me, did you know you were going to be here? I didn't know what it was going to look like. I knew I'd do something that I'd be proud of. I knew I'd do something that I'd be happy with. I knew I'd do something that I want to continue doing. Did I know what it was going to look like or who I was going to work with or, you know, I'd be a guy that somebody wanted to talk to and sit across the table with Zoe and he'd want to have a conversation with me? No, not exactly, no. But I knew something was going to come from it. You know what I mean? I felt that success in some, but success is relative.
Right.
Success is relative. What's successful to me might not be successful to somebody else. What's, you know, mid-tier to me might be super successful for somebody else. You got to do it where you're content at. And that's what I'm chasing right now. I'm chasing contentment. I'm looking to be satisfied when I look back and look at everything and be like, all right, that was good.
Right.
I'm cool on that. Like
right.
I did what I wanted to with that.
Right. So as always, the guests that have X or Twitter, you know, I like to go digging for some tweets and expound on those thoughts, right? So, you know, I wore my Knicks
love that
shirt.
Knicks stuff.
You know, I wore my Knicks shirt proudly.
Yes, sir.
This is by accident too. But the first one is Shamet cooking. So of course Tibbs sits him, found a weeks later, and then this is two parts. Take starters out. So Tibbs and how he plays his players.
It drives me
and then
crazy.
when you cooking, he take you out and what's
Drive me
up with
crazy.
bro?
He trying to get fired.
He must be.
He trying to get fired. If I had to make sense of this, I couldn't make sense of this. Like, yeah. I'm not, listen, let me say this clear so everybody hears me. I'm not an NBA coach. I've never coached a game in my life, right? I don't sit here and pretend to know more than the coach does. This is your job. But you got to make it make sense, bruh. Like, the dude is dropping threes all over the place, and you sit him to bring in the guy who's struggling. Why would you do that?
You got to roll with the high end.
That just seems like logic to me. Right. That don't seem like a hot take. That just seems like, all right. But you sit him down.
Right.
And then he don't come back in the next game. We playing the Pistons. Game 1, what happened? Your man comes off the bench. Campaign comes off the bench. Sparks. 8 points. Boom, 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 boom. Back to back. Starts a 21-0 run. Then the next game, he only plays for 4 minutes.
Yeah, it don't make sense.
What the fuck?
Yeah. It don't make sense. And then it'd be a blowout. We be up 25. 6 minutes left. 5 minutes left. You still see Anunoby out there, Brunson out there.
All the players that we need to reserve and keep fresh.
That's the other tweet. Take the starters out. Why are they still in the game?
Because he's trying to get fired. He tried. I wish Ime Udoka, I wish we could have got him. When he went on the market,
right. That
would have been my dream coach. Ime.
Oh, they're doing Houston.
Yeah. After he left Boston.
Yeah, he left Boston. Nia Long, ex-husband. Yeah. They did him dirty though. And but that's why he still got a job because he ain't really do nothing wrong.
And he's too good. Yeah. I won't even judge what he did and what he didn't do.
Right.
But coach-wise.
Right. He's proven it. Houston did a big turnaround.
Houston clicking right now off the strength of that boy. And imagine what he would do with this team.
Right.
I can only imagine the kind of thing he'd do with our starting 5 and the dudes we got on the bench. Bruh.
Right.
Dadier would be playing out. Don't get me started, man.
Right.
Hopefully they win tonight.
We winning tonight, man. Knicks in 6, you heard?
Yeah,
all right.
Let's get it.
Imagine calling yourself the master race and have to resort to erasing the achievements of minorities to make yourself feel better. Shoulder shrugs.
I don't really see that as a hot take either. Like, Every time you turn around, they getting rid of this thing, they getting rid of that thing. They don't want you to know that a black person did this. They don't want you to know a black person was responsible for that. And this is the government. We keep saying they, but it's the government. And off the strength of DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion. So because these black people were included, we need to get rid of them. But, you know, the women who are in Congress are also diversity, equity, and inclusion. But Marjorie Taylor Greene ain't got... You're going to get me started.
Just listen, this is what you're here for. I brought it up for a reason.
You're going to get me started.
Go ahead, brother.
I'm not even...
the Mecca show.
I'm not even... No, it's not.
Yes,
No,
it
it's
is.
not. It's a conversation with Zoe.
The floor is yours.
I am grateful
I am
with the
here
camera. I'm grateful to be here.
facilitate a conversation with you. I picked the tweet for a reason because I knew that you were the man to bring it home for us.
Because you want me to go off. Yeah, bro, listen. My feeling when it comes to politics is I've always felt this one big game of watch the left hand so you don't see what the right hand is doing. And the bigger the noise the left hand makes, the scarier the thing is that the right hand is doing. And they making a lot of noise with the left hand right now, like a lot of noise. And you would need a massive amount of attention on deportation, DEI, the economy. You need a massive amount of attention on this side to draw attention away from something crazy you must be doing over on this side. And I think 4 years shakeout, maybe even see it before that. You know what I mean? Like, we'll see what the right hand was up to this whole time, and we'll be horrified.
Yeah.
Like, horrified. So I'm not, politics right now is, and not to mention you got a lot of people who are running around just, we spending a lot of time telling the right, I told you so, you voted for this dumbass Trump, you voted for Trump, I told you so. Bro, we passed that.
Yeah.
We passed
He's
that.
here right now. He's here. He's
and
arrived.
unless he gets impeached on something crazy, he's not going nowhere.
Right.
So whatever it is, we need more unity than ever. We need to pull it together. I hate that this is the thing that makes us unified. But at this point, I'll take whatever I can get. Like, we need to pull it together, bro. We have a common enemy. If that's how you want, the enemy is right there. He's telling you he doesn't like you. All that is Trump a racist conversation. All that needs to be out the door. Like, look, he's doing everything a racist would do. I was arguing on the show that he was a racist, and I had people rolling their eyes at me. All right, well, what does this look like to you?
Right.
You dig what I mean? So, excuse me. I also don't want to talk about who's black and who's not black and who's really black. Bro, the Klan got ropes for everybody. Everybody's getting it. They don't have a rope labeled West Indians and another one named Africans and another one named Latinos, like, and another one named Black Americans. Like, there's no separate ropes. We're all getting the same rope. We're all catching it. If they catch Latin people today, black people going tomorrow. If the black people go tomorrow, the Africans is going after that. The Africans go out. West Indians is going after, bruh. It's whoever they can fit in the truck.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So you keep playing them games and trying to figure out who's better and who's... That proximity to whiteness won't save you. They remind the people every day, you are not us.
Right.
You are not us. I just saw a story about a lawyer who got stopped coming across the border in Canada. He was Arab. He was an Arab-looking dude. I don't know if he was an Arab-looking dude. And they stopped him, pulled him over, locked him up for 5 hours. He had to call his sister, who was an immigration attorney. She had to go get him, and even she had trouble going to get him. And you hear her saying stuff like, they're coming for us Americans. I was like, who's going to tell her? Who's going to tell her, baby girl, when they look at you, you are not the American. Mm-hmm. You are not us Americans to them.
Right.
You got that fucked up.
Got to be Duck Dynasty and all that. You know? That's where we're at.
And even then, they're poor, so
right.
They only count by so much.
That's true.
True. Oh, excuse me. Duck Dynasty ain't poor. Those specific dudes,
those specific dudes,
they ain't poor. They caked out, but like, they bred it up.
The people they sell to are poor.
Right, exactly. Yeah. Like, you're not rich enough.
Yeah.
You don't have to be poor, but you ain't rich enough.
Right. He
looking after his Billy Club, so.
Right. So, When do you think all the Kendrick haters, Drake lovers, will realize that all this fuss they're making was the goal?
Say that again.
When do you think all Kendrick haters, Drake lovers, will realize that all this fuss they're making was the goal?
I don't think they will. Or maybe they already have. Possible. Kendrick versus Drake, one of the best battles we've seen in the history of the genre, right? Definitely pivotal, because I believe something that MCs have been harping on for a long time, which is lyricism making a comeback. Despite what my homeboy Esso thinks, shout out to Esso.
Shout out to Esso, shout out to Heineken, shout out to Backview, my guys.
We just got finished with this argument when I was on the show. But like, despite what Esso thinks, I think when businesses understand that they can make money from anything, they tend to harp on it more. I think the more attention that was paid to a battle that was held on lyrical terms, the more the industry will start to recognize that maybe this is the way to go, especially with sales dropping 40% across the board and a bunch of people being laid off for all kinds of reasons. I think maybe the people will start to get that this is the way to go. And, you know, we'll see. There was a lot of attention paid to that battle. I remember it was one of the first times where people were running home to see what was said and who said it, and oh my God, and word, and he said what, and rewinding it to hear the lyric again and wanting to hear that bar again and wanting to discuss, you know, what was said and how it was meant. Long time since that's happened.
Sure.
Long time since that's happened. So that's important. I think we might be there now. And hopefully this means MCs who really have something to say, who really have lyrics, really have bars, we can get it popping.
Right.
They can get it popping. We can see more of that. We can see more thought-provoking artistry in the mix. That would be excellent. And that's what I'm hoping for.
Another day, another Kanye marketing tantrum.
It always seems like he wilds out and then he sells you something.
Right. That's true. That's true.
Again, these are not hot takes. It feels like he spazzes, says the wildest shit he can think to say to bring all attention to him. And then once that happens, by the way, buy this.
Right.
Buy this $800 sock.
Right.
Buy this $9,000 blanket with holes in it. Like something outlandish and ridiculous.
Right.
And I'm disappointed.
Yeah. I was listening to 30 Hours the other day, and then I heard some of the college dropout. Just old Kanye coming up through the playlist, and I'm like, what happened? You know, and then have you heard Cousins?
No.
Well, you know, that's circulating. And
yeah, I know. I don't want to listen to it.
But do you think that's to sell some shit, or that's true?
The fact that we even have to ask that question is why I don't want to listen to it.
Right.
We don't even know if... I've always been a fan of Kanye. My main selling point for loving Kanye the way I did was because he was an honest artist. I felt like whatever he said, whether it was true or false, he meant it. He believed it. It might not have been true. It might not have been true, but when he said it, he thought it was true. He really meant it. Now I'm not sure about any of that.
Anything. Everything is questionable.
And that takes me completely out of the space. You dig what I mean? His music was so honest in the beginning. I'm a backpacker, but I want money. I want to spend like Jay-Z spends. I want to live like Master P lives. Like I want that life. I want that money. But I'm a backpacker. My girl goes to college. Like I've worked day jobs. That whole first album, College Dropout, bro, that was brilliant.
Right. That
was brilliant. And then leading all the way up to Graduation, like those albums were fucking fire because they felt so honest. Even the plights he was describing. I knew women like that. I knew dudes like that. I was a dude like that. You know what I mean? Yeah. He was either talking about me or talking about somebody I knew. It was so honest. And the music was so good. And now everything feels like one big ass marketing ploy or a call for help.
Yeah, a blend of everything. Cause then he came out, I like the gospel album. You know what I'm saying? I was feeling Jesus King and all that. It got some slappers on there. And it's like, now it's the complete opposite of that.
And then he's praising Hitler. So was that true?
Right.
Like, what we talking about? Like, 1 minute is this, and then you on Twitter saying like the most horrendous shit about somebody else's kids. Like, what part of Jesus?
Right.
Where in Jesus's followings were you looking?
We had Sunday service at one point too.
I was here for that. Like, okay, great.
Right.
Listen, even if you're not Christian, that's still cool. You dig what I mean? Like, it's still, objectively speaking, somebody trying to do the right thing or spread the guy. Right. Yeah, you know, church and organized anything always has its fallbacks. Anytime something becomes organized, there's potential for it to go horribly left. Religion, law, anytime, like, it's one thing for a guy to go, you know what, I'm gonna go outside and I'm gonna try and make sure that nobody else gets hurt by crooks and criminals, right? Sounds great in principle. As soon as it becomes an organization, NYPD.
Right.
Beating up people for no reason, doing this for no reason, letting this person off, arresting, over policing these people, getting away with all kinds of, sounds great.
Right.
Religion. You know what? Let's feed the poor. Let's clothe the poor. Let's clothe the poor, feed the hungry, take care of each other, and really do right by each other and live by some morals. Don't hurt nobody, blah, blah, blah. Sounds great. Organized religion. Okay, let's go to this other land where they don't have religion and let's convert them and make them pray the way that we pray, and let's kill them if they don't. Let's decide these people are savages, and let's talk to slaves and tell them that God wanted for them to be slaves. You think what I'm saying? Anytime the thing gets organized and people start putting their hands in it, it just has a tendency to get fucked up.
It kind of loses its purity. It gets a little corrupted.
I'm looking at Kanye the same way. Right. Like, 1 minute it was Sunday service and it was all God, everything, and we was with you. Like, who can be mad at that? And then the next minute, what part of that justifies you bigging up Hitler?
Right.
Even if he didn't do exactly what you think he did, he's still responsible for some pretty horrendous shit. Right. Why are you okay with that? Why is that the guy you big up? Slavery was a choice. Really? Seriously? Your ancestors need to come into question so you can sell some shit? Slavery was a choice. You who have never lived in the condition of a slave, you have no idea what it is to be born, raised, live, and die in those conditions. You have no idea what it is. And here you are trying to make that mindset and bring that into the 2020s and judge those people for doing what they need to do because they weren't willing to die. They're the problem. Yeah. Like, bro, we're the only people who do that. Why are we questioning our ancestors? Nobody says, hey, you know, during those concentration camps, they outnumbered the guards. How come they didn't? Like, bro.
They should have had a revolution.
Right. Like, come on, bro. Like, what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? We were so proud of you. We were so, I'm speaking for hip-hop.
Right.
So happy to have you. And, like, look what you're doing now.
All right, Kanye gives you 30 seconds to give him advice. What would you say?
Take your meds. Take your meds. Like, go see somebody. I'm not a doctor, but he ain't been the same since his mom passed, bro. And I can speak on that because I ain't been the same since my father passed. My father's birthday was yesterday. I ain't been the same since.
Right, my condolences.
Thank you. Many moons since that man passed. I talk about him every time I turn around, a piece of his wisdom floats in my head, and I spit that to the world. His mother was brilliant. Kanye's mom was brilliant. I know she got wisdom that she imparted on him. And I don't know how she'd feel about how he's acting now. I still think about that. If my pops saw me today right now, if I had to spend a whole day with him and tell him everything I've been doing and everything I've been up to and all the decisions I made and the people I interacted with and how I dealt with this and how I dealt with that and how I spoke to this person and how I handled that person, how I treated this situation, what would he say? Would he be proud of me when it was all said and done? Would he be happy for me? Or would he be disappointed in me?
Right.
I think about that. I still think about that. Come on, bro. Your moms would be cool with this. This is what your moms would want you to be doing. And you got kids.
Got kids.
They got to see this. Like,
Yeah.
oh, bro.
I didn't like that Ray J's twin thing either. That was weird. That wasn't cool at all.
It's all weird.
It's all weird.
It's all weird. All of this. None of it got nothing to do with the music.
None.
None of it has anything to do with
If Kanye drops something, we gonna listen. Whether it's whack or not, we gonna listen. So you don't gotta do this.
He's
Well,
talked me out.
not no more.
Yeah, like.
But I'm saying before this, you drop
Facts.
something, we tapping
Facts.
in, bro.
We was
gonna tap
there.
in. We was right there.
We loved it. Yo, I loved it.
Right.
I loved it. Right up until graduation. 808s and Heartbreak, he lost a bunch of things and he never got right after that.
Right.
And I really want him to know, okay. I want Kanye to know peace. As one black man to another black man, I want him to know peace. I want him to be able to rest and not have to do these things in order for people to pay attention to him and his music. That's what I want for him. That's what I wish for most people. But for him, because we talking about him, I want that. I wish that man peace. And I think if he was at peace, these things wouldn't be happening.
Right.
That's it. That's my advice. 30 seconds.
I saw an Instagram post. It says, tired of healing. I'm gonna start traumatizing y'all back.
Yeah, I said that. I meant it. I meant it.
And what made you say that?
How many people feel that? Sis. All right. Bruh.
I'm healing right now.
All right.
I'm healing right now.
Yeah, me too, but nah. Like sometimes I feel like, I'm an Aries, bruh. War is kind of our thing. I don't like the turn the other cheek mentality too much in 2025 because you have too many people who take advantage of it. I think there's way too much be the bigger man. And don't get me wrong, you have to be the bigger man. You have to turn the other cheek. You have to know when it's worth it to fight and when it's not. You definitely have to. Most fights aren't worth it. Most fights aren't worth it. But when you start dealing with bullies, that's what they want. You hear some people say stuff like, you got that victim mentality. You running around with that victim mentality. Which is where that post came from. Because I had somebody, talking that, don't see yourself as a victim. Stop seeing yourself as a victim. That sounds good, kinda. But what if you are a victim? Then you're denying yourself justice. What if justice is what you deserve from what this person did to you or what this organization did to you or how it chalked? Why are you always just saying, I don't want to be no victim? Okay, well, where does that get you when it's time for justice? Like, I'm a big fan of justice. I'm a big fan of what you do. You deserve the results of that. If you do good, I think good things should happen to you. If you do bad shit, I think you should get what comes with that.
Right.
I don't like this whole, I'm not gonna be a victim. All right, well, then you're just letting the person who victimized you get away with it. I'm not cool with that. I'm gonna start traumatizing y'all back.
Right.
I'm traumatized for no reason, and I know I'm walking around this earth trying to do the right thing by people and trying to do good by people, and you roll up and cause me all kinds of ridiculous trauma just because you traumatized. All right, well, let me go ahead and give this back to you, bruh. Like, nah. Okay, I'm done with that. I'm gonna start serving. You get it. I'm be like Oprah out here.
Yeah.
You get served. You get trauma. You get trauma. I'm traumatizing you first. Traumatizing you 2 times. Yeah. I'm gonna get you next week. Don't think I forgot. Like, bro, sometimes you can't Sometimes you got to hit back.
Right.
Sometimes you got to hit first.
I respect it.
Call it premeditated retaliation. You got to think about that one for a second.
Right. That's too much energy for me, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm here serving my purpose with the youth.
Mm-hmm.
But also being selective who I give my resources to, who I allow into my network. Like if somebody's probably gonna ask me after this interview comes out in a few weeks or so, like, yo, how do I get in contact with Mec? And I would really have to think, before I'd be like, yo, Mec, what up? Yo, this is bro. Mm-hmm. Now it's like, nah, I gotta screen many scenarios where you could potentially fuck this up for the both of us and think like, nah, bro, listen, hit him up on the gram, hope he answers you. And that's it. Because I used to be too free with everything.
Because you're being protective of me, right? You're being protective of our connection.
Yes.
You're being protective of our relationship. Okay, that's the way I feel like somebody should be protective of you.
Right.
With what you do for the youth, with the kind of energy you put out, I think somebody should protect you. And not protect you on some, that's your weak shit, but I think somebody should, y'all go ahead, leave Zoe alone. Like, I'm not bringing that bullshit to Zoe's door. You dig what I'm saying? And for the people who would insist to bring the bullshit to Zoe's door for no other reason than to cause Zoe unrest and harm and calamity in this world, I think those people should be traumatized.
Right.
I think we should answer those people with trauma. I think those people deserve to get what they're trying to dish out to somebody else.
Right.
That's all.
Right. So we always got to give a little backstory, to how we got here. So describe your childhood.
Childhood, South Jamaica, Queens. We still played outside. We didn't come back in until the street lights came on. Yeah, I had one of those, but I was a hip hop head from early. So, while other people were playing basketball or playing football in the street, I was listening to cassette tapes and hearing like live recordings at hip hop parties. From like whatever time ago. You know what I mean? Like that was always my thing. Trying to pick up a breakdancing move or trying to figure out how they did that graffiti thing they did or trying to find a DJ so I could see how he did. You know what I mean? I was on that kind of time. It was I would love to sit here and tell you that my childhood was calamity and no, I wouldn't love to tell you that. It might be more exciting if I told you that my childhood was full of like ups and downs and crime and all kinds of abuse and all kinds of ridiculous shit. I went through whatever with my family, but if I'm being honest, my childhood was, all I thought about was hip hop and, comic books and fist fighting with people in the neighborhood. Like, we was riding bikes. We wasn't selling crack. We had, I knew my father. So me and him used to kick it. You know what I mean? And he used to drop a bunch of wisdom on me all the time. And now here we are, all these years later, I'll fall into a situation and his words pop in my head. And that's when I end up quoting my father on the show. So, Queens was a interesting place. Home of a bunch of legends, Tribe Called Quest, Run DMC, Nas, being the 165 Jamaica Avenue, Hot Wax, like there was a Gertz Mall, the Coliseum. That was childhood, bro. It was my building blocks.
Right. I saw you made a post about your dad yesterday. I also lost my dad as well.
Condolences,
in
man.
2015. So what did your father mean to you?
Everything. Best man I've ever known. Everything.
Right.
I said it in a post. I just wanted to be like him when I grew up.
Right.
And he wanted me to be better than him. And I hope we both get our wish.
I feel that 100%. My dad he was a building porter, and then he did tiles in the union. So that's when life kind of picked up. But he used to come home dirty every day, you know, cement, knee pads, you know, dirty backpack. And he would always tell me like, yo, like, I just want you in the office, dressed nice, looking good. And like, that's what I want for you. And it's crazy because I did work in construction, but I was a project manager. So I was in the office. You know what I'm saying? I was in the building, but I was in the office, you feel me? So I kind of, you know, I always lived to make him proud. You know, my dad was the best man I ever knew as well. And a lot of my principles and how I move and the things he taught me is the reason why I don't do a lot of shit. A lot of shit is just sucker shit to me. And I just like, yeah, we don't do that. Like, we don't even when I was wrong for something I did to my dad, and he was like, I think I was like ignoring him. And he's like, yo, come sit down. And I sat down. He said, yo, you a bitch? And I was like, what? And he's like, yo, bro, let me tell you something. Men speak. You got something to say to me, you say it. But all this rolling your eyes, acting like walk, because the living room is right by the front door. So I'm walking straight, like, I don't even see him. He's like, nah, we don't do that. Sit down, tell me what you got to say. I'm going to respect you more for telling me what you got to say. Good, wrong, and indifferent. But this right here, nah, men don't do that. So that's why if I got something to say, I'm going to say it.
I give you one from my pops. I was going through something at the Source magazine, right? I don't even remember what the situation was. But I was totally upset about it. And my father's whole thing was asking me, what are you going to do? He would always make me flesh out the issue and think my way through whatever the situation was. He would never just tell me the answer, which sometimes I just wanted him to tell me the answer. Like, it's so frustrating when you know he knows what you need to do and he just won't tell you. I had a situation, I was going through it. I ran in the house, sat down with him, pop. All right, look, boom, 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 boom. Told him the whole thing. He started up. What you gonna do? I said, no, come on, pop. Just, I can't do that right now. I need you to tell me what's going on. Like, this is the time, like the clock's ticking. I need you to tell me what to do. Okay, I understand that, but what you gonna do? And he refused to budge off that. And I got irritated. Like maybe after the third or fourth, what you gonna do? I got super irritated. I was like, you know what? Forget it. And I just got up. And he was like, no, but what's the plan? I said, I'll figure it out. You think too slow. You old. I'm young. I think quicker. And I just walked out. Like, this dude started laughing. Laughing. Loud. I was out the door and I still heard him. And when I say, I mean like head back here, holding his gut, tears forming in his eyes, couldn't close his mouth, laughing.
Right.
He knows this, son. I come storming back in the house like, what's so funny? What's like, I'm dying here and you laughing. What's so funny? He said, no, you right. You right. It took him a minute to calm down. He finally said, you know what? You right. You young. You think quick. But I'm grown. I see it coming. So which would you rather be? Think quick you or see it coming me? All right, so here's what I'm going to do. I sat down and was like, you know what? I can't beat that to save my life. And that kind of thinking, that kind of attitude is why I move the way that I do. You know, it's not a matter of trying to be the first one to the punch. You got to think it all the way through. You got to figure it out and not be impulsive and not move off your feelings and move off your emotions. But 9 times out of 10, when you quiet that part of your brain down and you think through the issue, you realize it's not that big of a deal. That was another thing I got from him. A lot of principles, a lot of, like, I saw my father get in a fight one time, beat the starch out of this dude, like really lumped him up, like bad, all in his face, just lumped him up crazy. And then like maybe a couple days later, we was at like a cookout, like a barbecue something. And I'm sitting there with my father, and the dude who he had a fight with came in the backyard. My pops like waved him down. Yo, want something to drink? You thirsty? You want a beer? Yeah, you take my seat. I'll be right back. I'm looking at my father. What are you doing? Like, what are you doing? How are you not, in my mind, you're supposed to be treating them some kind of way because you won the fight, you beat him up. My pops was like, he came back with a beer, was like, you want something to eat? I'm about to go to the grill. You want something? The guy had sunglasses on, you know what I'm saying? Because his face was all lumped up and everything. My father was treating him like regular, like nothing happened. Not like they just had a fight his knuckles was still like split and swollen from punching this dude up. And here he is talking about, it was crazy the other night, right? Oh, yeah, I know. He got ice on his hands, like all kinds. I was like, wow, like, what the fuck is this? I talked to him about it later. I was like, yo, what was that? Like, why you treat him? Like, it was like, the fight's over. I'm supposed to keep being mad at him? The fight's over. He was like, only losers want a rematch. Never forgot that. Only the loser wants a rematch. Only the guy who lost the fight wants to fight again. Still mad. Still wants to fight. And if you still want to fight a guy you already beat up, you are a loser. Only the loser wants a rematch. Never forgot that.
That's deep.
And then he looked at me off to the sideline and went, and why would I hold a grudge? I won.
Type shit. I was waiting for the flex in story.
Yeah, it was a little. He had to get something. I don't even know if he really felt that way, but he needed to say something.
He probably felt awkward about that. He probably thought about that one later, like, I ain't need to say that.
Why would? Of course, there are no grudges. Why would I hold a grudge? I won.
Right. So, me being a dean in education, working at a high school, how'd you become a good writer?
A lot of practice. A lot of reading. I was heavy into Baldwin. I was heavy into Stan Lee. I read a lot of comic books. I read a lot of philosophy. And I sat with the absolute pros of the field. So shout out to Jerry Barrow. Shout out to Gotti Bonanno. Shout out to Boo. Shout out to Carlito Rodriguez, Eric Parker, Jeremy Miller, Anselm Samuels. Like, it's a long list of people whose writing I really admired. Alyssa S. King. There was a ton of people who I studied and I just watched. I read a lot. And I still couldn't get my style together. You know what I mean? Like, I knew I loved writing. I was always that guy in class. I couldn't figure out my style. I couldn't figure out how I wanted my voice to sound like when it was on paper. And my OG, Jerry Barrow, gave me the best advice. He said, if you write the way you speak, you'll be a beast. You have to learn to translate the way you speak onto the paper. If you do that, you'll be unstoppable. It's the best advice I've ever gotten. And that's what capped me off and like really started my run. And I started writing with a lot more confidence then because I just wrote it the way that I would say it. I stopped searching for the voice and I just used mine.
I love that. I feel like something like, reading and literature and you saying you read comic books. I feel like as long as you read something you're interested in, you're reading, right? You don't gotta be Othello and all of those things. That's great and all, right? If you really want to get there. But reading is essential. So as long as you're reading something, sports, I was a big baseball player, so I read all the Yankeeography books and I would read about the Bernie Williams and all that, but I'm reading, right? Like, so it didn't matter what I was reading as long as I was reading. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, as you go older, you want to challenge yourself, but read what you're interested in. There's nothing wrong with that. I feel like if you're an English teacher, like, yo, what do y'all want to read this semester? And let's really engage. Yeah. And then I'll promise you'll get more engagement in your English class because
there's good writing and there's bad writing.
Absolutely.
And once you start sussing that out, bro, I was reading Garfield books.
Come on,
as a kid. Like, but I was also in the talented and gifted program and I was reading at a college level when I was in elementary school. So I could not agree more with what you're saying. There's always something that a kid is interested in. And as a kid grows, his interests evolve.
Yes.
What he reads evolves. I don't read the Garfield books anymore. Now I read different shit, like a bunch of different shit. But my interest started in one place, and because I was comfortable reading, it evolved in all these other things. And then when I came across a word I didn't know, I looked it up. Right. Super easy, right? I completely agree with you, bro. Reading helps you. Reading, writing helps you understand the way that your mind moves. It helps you express what's on your soul, what's on your mind, and in your head and in your heart. And it provides a clarity. Like once you know the language of a thing, you can speak it more frequent. And I'm not talking about a foreign language. I'm talking about yourself. Once you're able to decipher yourself, which is what reading eventually brings you, because you're watching all these other people. As you're reading, you're watching someone else's thoughts on paper, someone else's ideas written down so you can understand it and you explain to you. And this is what's in the back of their mind to the front of their mind to on the page. Once you get that process down, you can do it. And then you can do it in everyday life, which is why I like to think one of the things that people say about me on the show is the way I articulate myself. I love that. The way I explain myself. Okay, that comes from doing it on paper for a long time. That comes from doing it, seeing a lot of other people do it at master levels. Baldwin is a master writer. Watching him put his thoughts on paper, and then you see the interviews he gave.
He used to chew those white people up
with
his words and a cigarette.
Smoke. Calm. Even when he got excited, it seemed calm. These are the things you want me to believe. Like when he started getting on his shit, so you want me to do something I have no evidence for. You want me to believe in something I have never seen. You want me to risk my child, my woman, my life over things that you cannot provide, that you have shown me no evidence for. Right. Now, what am I supposed to... Bro!
And I moved to Europe. Right? I moved to Europe.
Quiet. And he was doing that in a time where that could get you smoked.
Unthinkable, bro. Like,
smoke.
You may not make it out the room.
Bro, you might not make it out the chair.
Type shit.
And he was
turn the camera off.
Yeah, like,
over.
This coon gotta go.
He went missing.
He was right. But, bro, that kind of like heart, that kind of guts, like you think you brave now because you out here shooting a dude who looks just like you. You don't know what it is to do something that, when the consequences were immediate.
Right.
It's a little bit different.
Right.
Those guys back then, they had heart.
Yeah.
Guts to stand in a white man's face where he got the full backing of the whole city, get on television and tell a white man about himself in that era.
I heard it.
Read that. Read the autobiography of Malcolm X. This man going up against the entire United States government and his own people. And they were after him. Read that. Watch the thoughts of a man who is trying to make sense out of his own people coming after him. On top of the government. And the government was the first enemy. And that's kind of where I feel like we are today. Like, there's a lot of division and a lot of infighting and a lot of distraction, but we got a common enemy. He does not want good for you. He doesn't want good for me. He don't want good for him. He don't want good for her. So why are we fighting with each other for who's going to be the least not good? You know what I mean? Like the less well off, like the best of the wretched. Why is that what you're fighting for? We got problems, bro. Like, we got problems. And you look at the autobiography of Malcolm X, you look at some of the books from back in that time, like the Black Panthers and stuff, like, we quietly not far from that. These people are showing you how they feel about you. So what you gonna do? Fighting with each other over bullshit ain't it. I've never been a fan of that. And I'm all for doing your thing and feathering your nest and trying to come up and be successful and not wanting your kids to struggle. I get it, but bro, we got problems. Acting like we don't have problems will not make said problems go away.
That part. I got three quotes from, and it's funny, I wrote these a long time ago. Okay. Right? So the fact that we're here, it's like, wow, like, I've been prepping for the interview for a while. I mean,
is it going the way you wanted it to?
Absolutely.
You sure?
Absolutely,
right,
bro.
Because, I don't want to let you down.
Intellect is sexy, bro. And I've always been a bookworm. I always loved school. I always loved education. My parents never had to wake me up to school. Like,
ladies, listen to them.
So I just want kids to know that it's okay to be like that. Like, you got to stand on what you stand on. If you love school, go ahead, love it. Because I got your back. I'm here to validate the kids that love reading, love school, love education, on the sidewalk, don't want to join gangs, love sports. Like, I grew up on Brook Avenue in the South Bronx, so I understand the peer pressures of, but if it's not you and you know it's not you, totally okay.
Well, you also can't acquiesce to sucker shit. You can't allow people who are not like you, not built like you, to dictate how you move.
Thank you.
Right? Just because they not into it, if we talking about being a man and standing on your own too, and talking to all the young dudes out there, like, somebody else telling you something is cool, and even if it is cool, but if this other thing is cool to you too, you need to go do that other thing, whatever that thing is. You follow behind that crowd your whole life. Ain't a good look, because when they decide to pivot, now you stuck there, and you stuck someplace you never really wanted to be in the first place, bro. Like, what you listening to? I hate doing this, but it's how I feel. Why you listening to dummies? Why you listening to dummies?
This is the place to say that shit.
Why you listening to dummies? You know the people who can't stand me be the dumbest people ever, and you want me to argue with you? You want to go back and forth? You all emotional. You don't know me from a hole in the wall. Your first move is to call me a name that you would never call me in my face. And I'm supposed to waste my time with you, bro? Are you kidding me? Like this, you disrespected. Mac, you gonna let that dude disrespect you? Who told you I wanted his respect? Who told you this is the dude whose respect I want? You know the people I fuck with that respect me? You know what they do for a living? You know the kind of people these are? Their respect means something to you. But first and foremost, my respect means something to me. Why the fuck am I arguing with an idiot? You know what that makes you? Idiot adjacent.
Right.
Why is that the thing to do? I try not to argue with fools, because from a distance you can't see who's who.
Fool is.
Bro, that's what it looks like.
Come on now.
Why are you arguing with idiots? Why you and if you are said person, you need to figure out why going on somebody else's channel to pop shit about them is what makes you feel good.
Right.
Something wrong with you.
Yeah.
If that's what motivates you in the morning to jump behind an anonymous page, go on somebody else's page that you don't like, which is ridiculous in itself. Like, I don't go nowhere I don't like.
Right.
I don't check for artists I don't like. I don't check for singers I don't like. I don't check for movies I don't like. I don't read books that I don't like from authors that I don't like. I don't eat food that I don't like. Why are you on the page of somebody who you told me you don't like to talk shit to them? You ain't got nothing better to do with your day. I don't check for nobody. I don't check for shit I'm not interested in. Not only just don't like have a negative feeling. If I'm neutral on it, I don't go. Right. I'm only going to places I'm excited about. Right. Conversations with Zoe. I'm pulling up.
Talk to me.
I'm pulling up. I'm excited. That's dope. Have you seen that show? Bro, he does dope shit. I'm going. Oh shit, I'm about to be on Conversations with Zoe. That's fire. Apartment 5A. That's dope. They do dope shit. I was on my expert opinion. We did dope shit. Right. If we weren't doing dope shit, I wouldn't have pulled up. Exactly. After the first couple joints, all right, I'm cool on this. And I wouldn't have been mad at it, but I wouldn't have pulled up no more. We did dope shit all the time. And I'm only using past tense because I'm not sure if it's coming back or not. I don't know. But what we did was dope. Right. The fact that we had haters in the comments, which I don't read the comments, but the fact that, people would screenshot and send me pictures of somebody, this dude said something, blah, blah, blah. Like, he ain't got, look at who you want me to be concerned about. Right. All this page full of love, people talking all the great shit. You want me to zero in on the person who's telling me he don't like me and can't tell me why. Right. You phony. Phony at what? You think you smart. Compared to who? Compared to who? Right. You think you know everything. I never said that. You think that I think I know everything. I never said that. You don't know shit. That's a fact. Because you don't know shit. You don't know shit. You think I know everything. Right. And you want me to entertain this. Like, bro, listen, kids, do not entertain these idiots. You have better things to do with your time, day, energy, and life than to entertain idiots, and idiots are everywhere. They're the people, and if you want to know who an idiot is, just look at the person, where's my camera? Look at the person who gets mad at me saying this. The person who gets upset and mad at me for saying what I'm saying, they're telling on themselves.
Facts. 3 quotes real fast. Two things can be true at the same time. Everything costs. Common sense isn't so common.
Are those mine?
Those are yours. I wrote those. You say that. You said that in the show over a culmination of time. But these are like the first 3 things that I wrote down like a year ago.
How'd you feel about those?
2 things can be true at the same time. You know,
Okay.
Because it's perspective, right? Like you can see where the other person's coming from and where that person's coming from. I lost my mom in January, so I'm going through a lot.
Bless.
But I can see, I'm learning to see where everybody's coming from because everybody had a different experience with my mom. Everybody's has had a different experience with my dad, right? My older brothers tell me wild stories, right? But I think like, oh, my dad was 21 with 4 kids, right? And then I got the 31-year-old married version of my dad. So he was in the 80s wailing with Tío Perico, right? I had a tío named Perico, right? I didn't know that was coke till I seen Scarface, right? Fly linen suit, motherfucker, you know what I'm saying? But then the guy that I grew up with in my house was the married, tile union, put your kids in Catholic school. So I'm not discrediting your experience, but I had a different one, right? And
he was that dude and he was this dude.
Right.
2 things can be true at the same time.
Everything costs. You got to invest in yourself. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of people that feel, I'm going to put this out there. I keep saying this to everybody. This studio costs, right? There's people that have paid me for interviews, right? But if you my mans, you got something going on, I'm just telling you the price of the studio. That's not me charging you because I'm giving you a look as well. I'm providing the service. Jordan's here. You know what I'm saying?
You got to get paid.
Right. There's things going on. So you got everything costs. You got to invest in yourself, right? Because I've invested in myself. And I've given you something that you want to be a part of. Yes or no? Okay, then. Next topic.
Well, would it surprise you to know that that's not exactly what I meant when I said that?
No. But 2 things could be true at the same time, right? Come on, baby. Come on.
That was a good one. Well played. What I meant when I said everything costs was I literally meant everything. There's a price for being who you are and what you want to be.
I'm paying it at my school every day.
More than that. Okay, Zoe. You're a morally upstanding gentleman, right? Maybe not a gentleman, but you're a man, right? But you have morals, you have principles. Those cost you. Those cost you. In this world, in this life that I live, those cost you opportunities. Me being how I am and who I am has cost me. It wasn't free. It wasn't cheap. I paid the price for being who I was. There's opportunities that I've lost out on that people have made tons of money from. Cost me. Being who I was cost me. Loving somebody, it's gonna cost you. There's a price tag that comes with everything and anything. Nothing is free. You don't escape it. It just doesn't always cost you money, but everything costs. You want to be an MC? It's gonna cost you pride, dignity, sleepless nights. Somebody calling you whack just because they want to call you whack. You could be dope. Somebody might want to call you whack just because they want to piss you off. Because fuck you. May not even be a reason. Just fuck you. It's going to cost you. You want to be a DJ? Same thing. Somebody rejecting you for no reason. Long nights, sleepless nights, long days, working it. Cost. You got to pay. And there's going to come a price tag with all of it. Me being who I am, how I am, the way I am, talking the way I do, interacting with people the way it costs. It costs. There's a price tag behind any and everything. And the second you accept that, the second you just understand that this is what it is, you'll get along easier in life. I think a lot of people go through hard times because they're being disillusioned. They were under the impression that this should have been free. That nothing was gonna come from doing this. Being a foul nigga costs you.
Mm-hmm.
Being a good nigga costs you.
Mm-hmm.
Being a foul nigga costs you good people. Being a good nigga costs you the wrath of foul people. It attracts foul people. Being a giver costs you takers. Here come the takers, and they want more than what you're trying to give. Being stingy, gonna cost you good people. People don't want to be around somebody who's just greedy and stingy and wants everything for themselves. It all costs, bro. It all costs, and it's just a matter of if you're willing to pay the price. I was.
Right. I can dig it. So, as we're at the tail end.
What was that final quote?
The final quote. Common sense isn't so common.
That one seems like a common sense quote. that one seems super easy.
Right.
Is it? Has it been?
Nah, hell no.
Has it been? Look who we voted in the office.
Right.
He's a con man, but everybody believed him.
Right.
When he lies all the time, but everybody believed him.
Right.
He's a 34-time convicted felon, but you thought he was going to be honest with you.
Right.
He's got a history of racism, but you believed that he wasn't racist anymore. You saw what his character was, but you thought his policies were going to just, everything he said he was going to do, he was going to do. The man bankrupted a casino. You know how hard it is to bankrupt a casino?
Could only imagine.
It's a casino, bro. They print money. The whole job of the place is for people to come in with money and leave the money there with you and then walk out. That's the whole, how do you bankrupt that? Now how hard you gotta fuck up to bankrupt the casino. And we hired that dude to run the country. You think common sense is common? Where? I had people coming up to me saying, Kamala Harris ain't black. I'm like, you know Trump isn't.
Right.
you know Trump isn't, right? Like,
right.
whatever she is.
Right.
You know he's definitely not that, right? You know he didn't go to an agent. He wasn't in a fraternity.
Right.
Like, what did I miss? Bro, common sense is not common. We get mad at the smart guy.
Right.
We wish for the downfall of the champion. We exalt in the negative, even though it hurts us. Two people dapping and hugging in the middle of the street, nobody stops. Two people fighting in the middle of the street, everybody stops. And then they pull their cameras out and show people.
Right.
The smart guy gets ridiculed for being smart. The brilliant woman gets ridiculed for being brilliant. If she keeps her legs closed, they crack on her. But then when she opens them up to everybody, they crack on her too, but they make her famous for the negative shit.
Right.
Artists with wild talent get overlooked. Artists with very minimal talent who make a lot of noise and do a lot of heinous shit get all of our attention. But it's not from music.
Right.
Where's the common sense in any of this? You think what I'm saying? Like, show me. Common sense is not common at all. I don't know why we even call it that, because we think everybody has it. Yeah. But having it and using it apparently are two different things.
Two totally different things. So, how did you end up on My Expert Opinion?
Math invited me down as a guest. I was a guest the first time I was there. It was me, Amir, and Arsonist Heatmakers, and we had me and Arsonist had this big argument, which we always do. Me and him debate all the time. I think it's because he boxes and I fight, so sparring is just what we do, whether it's verbal or physical.
Right.
And we had this big ass argument, and not a foul argument. Like, that's the other thing. There's the ability to have competition without malice. Right? And he and I both understand that. He's competitive as crazy. Arsonist I'm talking about. He's wild competitive. I'm wild competitive. But there's no malice in it. We're not hateful towards the other person. We just want to prove that we're as good or better. And then they can come back and do the same thing. So with that said, he didn't want to lose the argument. I didn't want to lose the argument. He thought he was right. I thought I was right. I was actually right. Right. And then we went back and forth. I said that. I was actually right. Me and him went back and forth a bunch, and it made for a great watching. And I liked the idea that two black men can argue with each other on camera and dap each other and genuinely like respect and fuck with each other afterwards, after a big argument. I really liked that. I dug that we were showing this, because for a while it felt like all we were seeing on camera was people crashing out when they disagree.
Right.
And here we are disagreeing, and afterwards,
no crash
that's
out.
my man. Like that's my man. I did a forward style interview for the album that him and Joel Ortiz did, showing you how cool we are, right? But that first argument wasn't even our first argument. It was the first one we had like on camera, and it was dope. And Math saw that, I'm guessing, and asked me to come back again. And I can't remember who I think my next episode was with Q-Tip. You think what I'm saying?
Right.
And me and him went back and forth, but not in a argumentative way, but he was telling me a couple of things and I was telling him a few things from like the business perspective. And, you know, we had some revelations on the show. And I guess after a couple of those, Math was like, yo, listen, you know, why don't you make this a regular thing? Because, you know, it was a couple of times I couldn't make it because I had paid obligations. So once we decided on numbers, it was up. And we kept doing like really, really cool, dope shit.
Right. Who were some of the co-hosts that left that you were upset about?
Esso and Heineken. You know what? Let me keep it a buck with you. I upset might be the wrong word, but I thought
You was tight.
Even that's the wrong word. I felt it was unnecessary. I never saw anything happen that was so bad that these guys had to leave, or we couldn't have worked it out or figured it out. Me, Esso, Heineken, Mav, Space Ghost, Bigger, like we did a lot of magic moments. You know what I mean? We had a lot of great moments together. Champ, we had great moments. You know what I mean? Like the things that when it was Champ, Bigger, myself, and Mav, we had great moments. And I never felt that anything happened so terrible that we had to stop having these great moments. You dig? It didn't seem that bad to me. There are 4 unforgivables as far as I'm concerned. And shout out to my pop from him. If nobody violated somebody's kids, violated somebody's wife, sent somebody to jail, or took somebody's life. Those are the 4 unforgivables where you just can't make amends and you can't make peace. If it's not one of them 4 things, we can figure it out. It ain't that serious. It ain't that deep. We can figure something out. And none of those things ever happen. You know what I mean? Between the other co-host and the show, none of those things happened. So my feeling wasn't, I wasn't tight. I wasn't angry. I wasn't upset. I was a little frustrated because I felt like this was unnecessary. I thought we were upsetting the apple cart unnecessarily. We can really keep this going. It's not that serious. We can all get over this, the thing we're disagreeing on right now, and get back to work. Right. That was my main feeling.
Did you ever have a moment where you almost left?
I think some of that MAGA talk got me close.
Okay.
I think like when it seemed like the whole shop was riding for Donald Trump, I think that was one thing. Was like, because we on 2 different pages on principle. Like you can like who you like, but we on like principle. Morally speaking, I felt like we were on like a couple of different pages. It seemed a little crazy to me that you could ride that hard for that guy. Like even if you were indifferent, but like to be pro-Trump, it felt a little nuts. But then again, none of the 4 unforgivables. We just having a disagreement. And if I'm not, why would I leave because of my principles? You know what I mean? Like why would I let me believing this be the thing that pushes me out the door when my overall principle is that we all black men and women, we all in this together. If I just bounce, it's like it almost feels like I just gave up. And I'm not pussy. I don't give up. I put it down and walk, but I'm giving up just isn't it's not in my nature to retreat,
Right.
I guess, or like be talked out of it. So I didn't want to be the guy who left, and now it's a full MAGA show. Like if I'm really strong on my principles, I should be able to stand here and listen to all this bullshit and respond to all the bullshit with my own bullshit, and let's see who bullshit is better.
Right. So when does if my expert opinion was still going on today, when does a Bagfield interview happen?
I don't know if it ever would. I don't know if it ever would, because it would take and I'm answering for me. It would take more than I can give to get it to happen. I tried a couple of times. I tried when the relationship first fractured, and I tried to pull it all together then, and it didn't work. Math decided he didn't want to come. So that we set up the dinner. Everybody knows Math said he didn't want to go. And if I couldn't do it then, I kind of not washed my hands of it, but okay, I gave it a shot. It's not gonna happen. I've made peace with the idea that it's not gonna happen. Now, I think it would have been great. I think it would have been awesome. I think it would have been great if we could have pulled it back together.
Right.
You know what I mean? And figured out another show with the original member, with that cast on it, not original, because the original cast is Knowledge and Misfit. Shout out to them.
Yeah,
that's the original. Sure. I think they get overlooked a lot with all this stuff happening. People keep thinking that we were the first cast, and I keep trying to remind them it's not. We stood on the shoulders of Knowledge and Misfit. They were there in the very beginning, from what I give it up to them. I give it up to them. But like as far as that interview happening, I'm not sure, because there's still a lot of underlying issues that have yet to be addressed, and there's a lot of conflicting stories, and I can't tell you that they would ever sit down. And I don't know that they want to.
Right.
I don't know that they want to.
This is your first Bagfield interview.
Yes.
Right? So then, how come you haven't been on Bagfield before?
It wasn't time.
Okay.
It wasn't time. They didn't need, well, first of all, they don't need me. That's number one. They don't need me. S.O. and Heineken been S.O. and Heineken since S.O. and Heineken been S.O. and Heineken. Right. Them niggas don't need nobody. They're good with what they're doing. They're great.
Right.
It wasn't time. I didn't have much to talk about. If I was going to talk about it, I would talk about it on my expert opinion.
Right.
I didn't have nothing to talk about. But it was time. It was just, we've always been cool. I'm not beefing with anybody. I see S.O. and Heineken now, we dap it up. We chop it up for however long we have, and we keep it moving, because they always have an agenda and I have one. But I've seen S.O. at like events for Busta. I've seen S.O. and Heineken at the Shine biopic, his documentary that was on Anscape. It was fire. And me and Gap bumped into S.O. and Heineken, took pictures, flicked it up. You know what I mean? Like I don't have those issues.
Right.
So for me, it was just time, and I have time, and I have something to promote. I have, Busta's album coming out. I have a couple of other things that I'm warming up to. Shout out to Hood IQ, a tech company that I'm really excited about. I can't wait for them to get started and show y'all exactly what that's about. But I don't want to go up there and just bump my gums. Plus, I don't want to go up there and slander. I'm not about slander.
Right.
I'm sorry, are we doing too much?
No, we good. We good. So this is where we're at, man. Last two questions that we ask every guest. Message to your younger self.
Trust yourself to do it. Trust yourself to do it. The win you want is on the other side of the L you're afraid to take. Trust yourself to do it. You're way more capable, and it's not selfish to want your own thing. It's not greedy to want to succeed. You don't have to you shouldn't trust somebody else with your dream. You have to go get it. And it's got to be you. It's got to be you.
Right. Message to the youth.
Same thing.
Love that. Same message applies.
The win you want is on the other side of the L you're afraid to take. Self-respect is more important than the respect of strangers. The internet is not a real place. Real life happens when you put your phone down. You can't follow people who don't know where the fuck they're going and don't care where they end up. And everything ain't for everybody, and that's okay.
That's okay. I say that all the time. Listen, any websites, Instagram, where we find you?
All of my stuff is on the exact same, is under the exact same name. It's Mr. Mec, MRMECC. My YouTube channel where I'm putting all my updates and my new content, stuff that I'm working on. Be on the lookout for Hood IQ. Really important. I can't wait to show y'all that. I cannot wait. Hood, I'm super excited. I can't wait for y'all to see that. Busta Rhymes' new project, Dragon Season, coming. We just moved the date, but we moved the date because something really big is happening on that project. So it's like super dope. I want y'all to see that. Equinox is already out. The Awakening is already out. Shout out to the whole conglomerate. Oh, the features. When this next album drops, I'll come back up and talk about it. You will want me to come back up when you hear that there's a specific song that you're gonna hear, and when you hear it, you're gonna call my phone and go, "Yo, why ain't you tell me?" Right. Now, just remember I said that here. And I think this is the first place I said that.
All right.
If I'm not mistaken. Just remember, it's on camera. I'm on the record now. Like you're going to hit me and go, "Why didn't you say something?"
We're looking forward to it, man. As always, man, I thank you for your time, presence, and energy. It really means a lot. For those out there, make sure you like, subscribe, comment. It's getting warm outside. Stay safe, drink water, and mind your business, and get home at a good time. You be all right. We out.
I'm doing all those things.
Right.
That whole rundown, I'm doing all that. That was incredible. That was like the most sound advice. I'm doing all that. As we speak, I'm drinking water and minding my business.